So now that the NBA season is over, it's time for me to shift into videos that I actually like making a lot more than NBA videos, and that's videos about the NFL. And right now, it's just going to be preseason slash preview of what every 32 team should be expecting to do over this next 17 game season and where your favorite team is going to rank, in my opinion. Now, if you want me to make a video about your favorite team, just leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe if you like the video, if you want to subscribe. And let's go ahead and talk about the Cowboys. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the offense first for the Cowboys. I think offensively, this team is probably going to be, they are easily going to have the best offense in the NFC East. They're going to have one of the better offenses in the NFC. Even Dak Prescott coming off a catastrophic injury, I think he's made it pretty clear that he is mentally going to be able to come back from that injury and physically going to be able to come back from that injury. He's going to come back and be the best quarterback in the NFC East again. I think Zeke Elliott is going to come back and be the best running back in the NFC East again. I understand that he had a down year by his standards, running for less than 1,000 yards last year, running for less than, or right about 4 yards a carry. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that he did not play with Dak Prescott for 11 games last season. And defenses were really able to key in on the fact that he was the only guy for the team. But even with that said, he still had 1,300 yards from scrimmage. He still was one of the best players on the team at all times. And when you compare him to any other running back in the NFC East, Saquon, I'd say Saquon and him are probably on the same-ish level. Saquon maybe is a little bit above Zeke. But at the same time, a down year for Ezekiel Elliott was a 1,300-yard from scrimmage season. He had 8 touchdowns. He was the only consistent threat on this team other than Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. So I think, that should say enough to where just with him and Dak, they're going to be one of the best offenses in the NFC East and in the league. And then you pair them with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin at tight end. This offense is going to be back to insane levels that they were when Dak Prescott was still healthy last year. And this offensive line, even though they were pretty banged up last year, you got to see Connor Williams step up and be one of the few guys who was kind of consistently healthy on that team. I know Tyron Smith was injured. I know Zach Martin got injured. I know that the right tackle never really got, properly assigned to anybody. But if La'el Collins comes back and is able to play well, then this offensive line is going to just lead this team to places like it has been the past few years. And I think, honestly, it's pretty surprising to me that offensive coordinator Kellen Moore has not gotten a head coaching job anywhere in the league right now. He had to call plays last year for Andy Dalton, Ben DiNucci. I think Garrett Gilbert got time last year. He was calling plays for quarterbacks who were in positions that were overqualified for what they could actually do. Or I guess the quarterbacks were underqualified to be doing what they should be doing. They still had one of the best offensives and one of the better passing attacks in the entire NFL, and that was with a 11-game stretch where they did not play with the best player on their team in Dak Prescott. So I think once Kellen Moore actually gets his main weapon back and gets to playing with a full healthy team on the offensive side of the ball, full healthy offensive line, healthy receiving core, healthy Zeke, healthy Dak, offensively, this team is probably going to score upwards of 30-plus points a game. I honestly believe that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other side of the ball. The other side of the ball is really the side of the ball that the Dallas Cowboys decided that they were going to address. They let go of guys like Joe Thomas at that inside linebacker spot. They ended up losing guys like Xavier Woods, who was really one of the better players on the defensive side of the ball all year for them last year. Other than Trayvon Diggs, in that back end of the defense, I don't really know if there was another. I guess Donovan Wilson was a decent player for them in 14 games, but there really was not a lot of consistent threats from the secondary. And I think losing Xavier Woods, especially because he's only 25 years old, I don't know if that was a great move, but they did end up replacing him with someone like Keanu Neal, who is 26 years old in his own right and has been a very good safety throughout his career, even though he's been injured. They get DeMonte KZ as well from Atlanta. They got a lot of decent players to play. They got some decent players to try to combat the fact that they were really bad on defense last year. Brent Urban coming over from Chicago was a decent move. Carlos Watkins from Houston. There's just little moves here and there. Terrell Basham from the Jets. There's just little moves here and there that are probably going to be looked at as pretty decent moves by the end of the year. They did lose Chidobe Awuzie, which I think that's kind of a big loss. I didn't watch enough Chidobe Awuzie. I don't even know how to say his name. Chidobe Awuzie. Yeah, I didn't watch enough of him last year to really know whether or not that's a big loss defensively. But I think if Trayvon Diggs is able to step up and take the next step at the corner position, then they'll probably be all right. This team did lose Aldon Smith in free agency to the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't really I think this team defensively is going to be about as bad as they were last year. Defensively, they could not really do anything in terms of consistently presenting a pass rush or consistently getting in the backfield against the run. And I don't really know if anything really like that got addressed in the draft. They did get Micah Parsons, who I think if he's slotted in alongside Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, or whether he's just instead of one of those guys, probably Vander Esch just because of his injury history. But, I mean, I don't know if just a rookie linebacker is going to change the fact that this defense was so bad last year. And they were going through so many different changes with, I think it was Mike Nolan as their defensive coordinator last year at the start of the season, and then he either got fired or whatever ended up happening. That was just a terrible situation, and Mike McCarthy is completely to blame for that. I don't think it's even close to, especially just look at how they were the previous season. They were so much better the previous season than this year. But anyway, defensively, this team is going to be really bad again. I truly believe that. I get that there's going to be some second-year guys who are going to be looked at, like Trayvon Diggs, like I said, like Neville Gilmore, who is a defensive tackle, who is supposed to be kind of slotting into that defensive tackle spot that they have never really been able to fix. They tried to fix it last year with Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe, and that did not work at all. Al Woods was not great. Tristan Hill was okay. Neville Gilmore, got some playing time here and there, but again, I don't know if any of these guys are really going to be looked at as the next step takers in terms of being able to be consistent threats on the inside of the pass rush and even the run stopping as well. And if you can't get interior pressure from your defensive tackles or your defensive line in general, you're going to have a rough season. You're going to have a rough time. Now, this freaking idiot, Mike McCarthy, this team is only going to go as far as Mike McCarthy, as long as he doesn't get in the way. This guy is so stupid. He preaches to his team trying to keep pace. He tries to preach to this team offensively that they should, move the ball a lot. They should try to get up and down the field. And then this guy, after the Cowboys go 40 yards in about 15 seconds, decides, I'm going to call a timeout and let the defense get set. Now, they end up scoring on the drive. I'm talking about the drive against the Rams in week 1. But, this guy's just an idiot. There's a reason he couldn't make it work with Aaron Rodgers, probably the most talented quarterback to ever play the game of football outside of maybe Marino or Joe Montana. If you can't make it work with that guy, I don't expect you to make it work with Dak Prescott, no matter how good I think Dak Prescott is. So, with all that being said, I think Mike McCarthy, just off rip, kind of limits your team in terms of a record standpoint. I think talent-wise, especially offensively, this team could easily win 12 to 13 games in a 17-game season. I really, truly believe that. Especially when you look at the rest of the NFC East, you got 6 games against teams who don't have as good of a quarterback as you. You have 6 games against teams who defensively, especially when you look at the Eagles, are not there. There's big holes at not every position, but there's big holes at really key positions for almost every team in the NFC East. The Eagles don't have a good defense. The Washington football team does not have a true quarterback. Even though we all love Fitzpatrick, they don't have a true quarterback that's going to lead them into the next step. And the Giants, I don't really know what the big problem with the Giants is, other than their offensive line isn't incredible. But the crux of this Dallas Cowboys team is really going to be their defense is bad and their head coach is one of the worst in the NFL. I think their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, can try to. I mean, honestly, if I'm a Cowboys fan, the best possible scenario I think that could happen is the Cowboys go 0-3 in their first 3 games. Mike McCarthy gets fired, and Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore just serve as co-head coaches and lead this team to a 12-5 or 11-6 record. Because there's a cap on this team with Mike McCarthy as the head coach, and that's I keep on saying it, but that's just it's a really strong feeling that I have about Mike McCarthy, that he's just not a good head coach. I think Cowboys fans would agree with me. I think a lot of Packers fans would agree with me. I think a lot of NFL fans would agree with me. So that's kind of my rant about that. So in terms of a record standpoint, I think this Cowboys team really could win anywhere from 10 to 13 games this year. I think the floor for this team is at least 7 or 8 wins. You're talking about a team who's looking to step up from a down year last year, especially offensively. Defensively, if they get anywhere close to an average performance, this team is a Super Bowl contender. And I really, truly believe that. Even if Mike McCarthy is the head coach, I think they still are a Super Bowl contender. And they should be a threat to not only win the NFC East, but win the entire NFC. With all that being said, that's going to be the video for me. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like. If you didn't, make sure you leave a dislike. Any feedback from you at this point is much appreciated. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. If you want to see me make a video about your favorite team, just leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.